The slope formula is a way we can find slope given 2 points. Let's say we're not working on a graph. And you're going to see tomorrow that this is actually very much like counting rise of a run on a graph, but it's like what you can do without a graph. So here's how you use the slope formula. You label the points. So like here's x1, y1, x2, y2, right? So this is like point number 1, x value and y value. So like this is x value number 1, this is y value number 1. This is point number 2. So this is x value number 2 and y value number 2. Okay, I always label my points because the most common mistake that you're going to make is just mixing up where the numbers go. And you can avoid that mistake by just taking this 5 seconds to label. It's always x1, y1, x2, y2. Now I'm going to plug these values into this formula. Okay, the formula is here. And notice it's m equals, and we know that m represents slope. And what we're doing is we're finding the difference in the y's, so how did the y change from here to here, and the difference in the x's, how did the x change from here to here. And like I said, tomorrow we'll connect this to rise over run. But for right now, you're going to say, okay, this is y2 minus y1. So I'm going to take my y2 value, which is -4, minus, because there's a minus sign here, y1, that's 5. And on the bottom it says x2 minus x1, so I'm going to say x2 minus, right, minus sign, x1. Okay, and now I'm going to simplify. I'm going to find the slope of this line. So -4 minus 5, so this is four holes in my boat, another 5 holes in my boat, that's -9. And then 6 minus 3 is 3. And I'm going to keep simplifying because I can keep going here, right? This is -9 divided by 3. Negative divided by positive is negative, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So here my slope is -3. Okay, and you can see, just let me sketch this for you really quick. If I had a graph, so this is like 3, 5, and 6, -4, something like this, right? This slope, I would be going down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1, right? That would be the slope of my line. All right, let's look at another example. Okay, again, I'm going to label x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, now I'm going to just copy the formula really quick just so I can, because it's now out of my screen. Okay, so here is my formula. So y2, so my y2 is 7, minus y1, 0. x2, right, here's x2. x2 is 1, minus x1. Watch what happens here. This is the minus sign from the formula. That's this minus sign. x1 is -3. Okay, so notice what happens here. There's a double negative. What happens when there's a double negative? This becomes 1 minus -3. When there's two negatives right next to each other, this becomes 1 plus 3. Okay, so this is 4. And 7 minus 0, that's 7. Okay, now remember, I have to simplify all the way. 7 over 4 is as simple as it gets. There's nothing that I can divide both 7 and 4 by. It's not a whole number. This is it. Okay, so sometimes my slopes are just fractions, right? Like this would mean in my slope, I would go up 7 and right 4. And in fact, if I graphed these points, right, you would see that that's exactly what I would need to do in order to get from one point to the other. I'd have to go up 7 and over 4. Okay. In these last two examples, they're going to be a little bit different. You're just going to see there's like a little piece of this that's connected to what we learned today. So here's x1, y1, x2, y2. Let's plug in. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Let's take a look. Okay, this is -5. Now see this right here, this double negative? That becomes positive. So this becomes -5 plus 3. So this is, I have 5 holes in my boat. I patched 3 of them. I still have 2 holes left in my boat. Now 6 minus 6, this is 0. Okay, notice what I have here. This is -2 divided by 0. This is -2 divided by 0. Remember that in math, we do not divide by 0. This slope is undefined. Okay, and you should be thinking to yourself, what's the undefined slope? That must be a vertical line. And you can kind of check your work, right? You can say, okay, let's see. If I graphed 6, -3, and 6, -5, oh yeah, that line that passes through those 2 points, that would be a vertical line. So that would be an undefined slope. So my answer makes sense. Let's do this last example. I have x1, y1, x2, y2. I never skip that step. Okay, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 2 minus 2 is 0. Negative 7 minus 4. This is, I have 7 holes in my boat, 4 more holes in my boat. That's 0 over negative 11. I'm going to keep simplifying. 0, sorry, this was undefined, right? 0 divided by negative 11. That's, I have 0 cookies. If I'm going to share it with 11 people, each person gets 0 cookies. So this slope is 0. And again, we can just kind of plot the points really quick and sort of check that that makes sense, right? Here's like 4, 2 and negative 7, 2. And we see, oh yeah, that line that passes through them, that's a horizontal line. And that does have a slope of 0.